What's up, beautiful souls? It's a pleasure to bring to you the Spiritual Psychiatrist podcast. And there's a lot of beautiful souls behind this. And our intention is literally to give you the best information, the most truthful information that can help you in your life be 100% free physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so that is our pledge to you, and our intention to you is to create the best possible podcast for you and to add as much value to you. And in exchange, if you benefit or if you receive value from this podcast, we would truly appreciate it if you can subscribe, share, let your friends know, because that really helps us and brings the energy flow back so we can continue to pour energy into you. Thank you so much for honoring the reciprocal energy exchange. And if this calls to you, subscribe, share, and we will continue to bring forth to you the best podcast we possibly can. What's up, beautiful souls? In today's episode, we dive into multidimensional water. Heal the water and the water will heal us. We literally dive into what is water on dimension 1 through 3. What is water on dimension 4 through 6, dimension 7 through 9, dimension 10 to 12? How water is what interconnects and connects consciousness, all that is, what Jesus called the Father. And we literally dive into the science of the structure of water on different dimensions and why this matters and how this interconnects us with all that is. And then at the end, we literally dive into practical ways to heal the water, to speak to the water, to infuse the water, to structure the water. Because if we heal the water will heal us, and water is life. So if you are interested or curious about the multidimensional, eternal living water that Jesus talked about to the woman at the Samaria, we literally dive into what is that? What's the chemical formulation behind that? How does that exist? How do we reactivate that same eternal living water? Water is life. So if that piques your interest, check out this episode and let me know what you think. What's up, beautiful souls? I wanted to share with you the eternal life wisdom, a rapid 12-strand DNA activation technique. Take a look within and you will find you are who you've been looking for the whole time. But take a look within where? Into the intron potential DNA scientists used to call junk. It's not junk, it's potential DNA. The 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA is your soul. The 7th, 8th, 9th stranded DNA is your oversoul. The 10th, 11th, 12th stranded DNA is your avatar, inner Christo self. This is the same wisdom our brother Jeshua was learning in Egypt. And so he comes back and he says, I am the resurrection and the life. Yes, you have eternal life encoded within you. You don't have to die. And there's a sacred science of how to activate the morphogenetic energetic template which lives inside every human being. It's about remembering, but in order to do that, you have to encrypt and unlock the fire codes. And I've created 12 sacred techniques in a specific order in the original light language, Anuhazi Mua, sound, light, and frequency with sacred symbols to, in order, activate and connect with your 12th dimensional avatar, Christo self, your 13th dimensional, 14th, 15th dimensional Rishi self, unlocking that within you through the original sound, Anuhazi Mua, unlocking the 7 higher heavens to literally not some external ascended master self, but your ascended master self, which is primal light and primal sound fields. And these sacred techniques, when done naturally and gradually, are literally re-encrypting your eternal life base 12 mathematical code, reactivating in a natural, gradual way your DNA, your 12-stranded DNA, and literally shifting timelines, ending the cycle of reincarnations, and literally shifting you into creating heaven on earth, which is within you. And that's what these techniques were designed to do. And it's a sacred science and art, and I studied it for many, many lifetimes. In this lifetime, I remembered it, and it worked for me, and it's working for over 2,000 souls in the Eternal Life Tribe. But if you're like, yo, like I don't really want to join the tribe, and I just want the techniques, and I'm more of like a study at home type of person, I want to unlock all 12 of those techniques at one time, well then perhaps this course is for you if you resonate with it. So check out the link below, the Rapid 12-Strand DNA Activation Program. Take a look within and you will find you are who you've been looking for the whole time. Resurrect, bet the dead aren't really dead. So check out the course if this resonates with you. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist Podcast. And today, excited to speak about eternal living water. So, what is the water that Jesus spoke about to the woman at the well? He said, if you drink from this water, you shall never thirst again. It shall become unto you a fountain, a spring of eternal, everlasting water. And so what's the science behind what he was talking about? And how do we practically apply that into today's day and age? And so I'm happy to share with you. Had a lot of fun preparing for this episode. It's fascinating to me. It's beautiful to me. And water is life. Heal the water and the water will heal us because we are made of water and water is multidimensional. And so today I'm excited to dive into the multidimensional truth of eternal living water. Before we begin, as you guys know, I always like to kind of start by setting the frequency. So if you're not driving, I'll go ahead and listen to the energy behind my words. So we set the frequency for today's episode. By the love of original eternal source consciousness field, we have come, we have come. So setting a barrier now on the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual plane, on all dimensions and all timelines are on this podcast, the frequency of eternal love. We welcome in the eternal beloved counsels to guide this podcast. We command all other beings to leave now. By the truth of original eternal source consciousness field we stand. We welcome in the truth of the eternal living water into this podcast. For the truth will set us free, and we are free indeed. We are free, we are free, we are free. By the power of original eternal source consciousness field we fly. Stars in our minds have aligned, and this is the lifetime we have waited for many, many lifetimes. In 144,000, it's time to step into our power, unapologetically, unconditioned, unprogrammed, a unique oscillatory, vibratory reflection of Almighty Living Creator Source. So we step into the present moment in multidimensional, eternal coherence. Now, by the way of original eternal source go I, and by the grace of original eternal source consciousness field, I now sanctify and renew this podcast and all who are listening on all dimensions and all timelines for the liberation of all sentient beings. Thy kingdom, Queen, come, thy will be done in this podcast as it is in the highest heavens. Taisha, Intadoya, Taisha, Intadoya, Taisha, Intadoya, spoken as it is stated now, and so it is done. Share lives for Christ our. We're on this podcast now. All right, beautiful souls. So I want to start today's podcast off with a little bit of a story. It's called The Water That Chose to Remember, the parable of the first drop. So if you're not driving, you can go ahead and visualize, feel, close your eyes, or whatever way that you can really tune in to the story that is going to be told here. So long, long before time, before stars were born, before the worlds were spun into motion, there was silence, vast, loving, whole, interconnected. And within that silence, Source sang. It wasn't loud, not even made of words. It was more like a breath, a knowing, a pulse of pure intention. Ah, Karayasata la Cristalla, and from this breath the first light came. And from that light, a question formed. Who will carry my memory into the places I have been forgotten? And many great forces arose. There was like a meeting in heaven. Yeah, the flame came forward with power. Air danced around in freedom. Earth stood there in strength. But one being, quiet, clear, pure, stepped forward. Water, the purest element. And water said, I will go. I will flow into density and form. Not to conquer it, but to translate it. I will hold the memory in motion, softness in strength, and stillness in storm. So, water descended from its pure, still, interconnected, free sound. Through the layers of liquid light, from the eternal plasma fields, it descended into the dimensions of time, shape, gravity, and breath. And with each descent, went down from one harmonic universe to another, changing its form from hydroplasma, flowing like light made liquid, then into a crystalline mist, able to mirror the mind of the stars, and finally it became molecular water, H2O, the familiar friend that we sip, swim in, and cry through. And even in this densest form, water never forgets. It remains a translator, the sacred bridge between the unseen and the seen. So when Jesus whispered and was on the night on the mountain praying, the bridge between him and his Father, all that is consciousness, to the liquid light, Christos self, to the pre-distortion, eternal living water. His words were carried through the translator, water, which binds to consciousness, which holds the eternal memory through all dimensions and all densities and all time. So when a soul whispers intention, and what is intention? A magnetic frequency that exists between matter. Water records and carries that intention like a magnet. So it's water holding our intention together, magnetizing whatever our intention is. When a mother sings to her child, it's water that carries the sound tones into the bones of the child. When a prayer is spoken over a stream, the water absorbs the song in silence until the earth itself remembers. Water was made as a mirror to translate light into language, spirit into substance, thought into tissue, and memory into matter. Water remembers. It is the only element that chose to become so humble, so all other elements could have a voice. And water is waiting patiently in oceans, in rivers, in our blood, waiting for us to speak to it, treat it, not like a tool, not like a resource, but like the eternal living consciousness that it truly is. Water is life. Heal the water and the water will heal us, because we are water. Most of us are used to thinking of water like a substance, something we drink, we bathe in, we clean with. But the truth is, water is not just a physical liquid. It's multidimensional living intelligence that holds and translates the memory of eternal living source consciousness field. It's the conduit between us and the unicide, the eternal still point of all creation. how you travel up and down Jacob's ladder, and how your prayers reach, quote unquote, God is through water. It is the original translator of consciousness into form, the bridge between spirit and matter, matter and manifestation. So indigenous cultures called it sacred, and indigenous cultures spoke to their water. So on a hot day, existing simultaneously 200 years ago or 100 years ago, imagine Chief Joseph praying over a land to the water. And Chief Joseph's soul song, if you've never heard a Native American indigenous chief soul song, they rarely sing it. It's sacred. It's their unique soul signature. I once, in a heart protocol ceremony, OG, like probably one of the most OG Native American chiefs in the entire world, who hadn't sang his soul song for about 40 years. The middle of the heart protocol ceremony starts belting out his soul song. It's a beautiful, beautiful frequency. And so Chief Joseph spoke into the water and prayed for the land. And the water absorbed his soul signature frequency into the streams. And on a hot day, the sun evaporated it 3D. And on the ether, the wind carried that water. And one day over a thirsty land that needed rain, that same water condensed, and Chief Joseph's prayers flowed down into the water. And one day there was a girl who took that water and drank it, and that prayer is living, it's alive, it's carried and holds memory. And the Native American chiefs were able to see through water, which carries over space and time, multidimensional communicator, a time of the sixth sun, a prophetic time where the indigenous cultures would rise again. And the harmony with earth and the water and the land would once again be known on earth. So we are the answer to our ancestors' prayers. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and water is life. Water carries our prayers, and the indigenous knew this. The mystics, if you go to Bali, there's these temples, and I kid you not, I was just there. They say that the water comes from the earth underneath, the aquifers. And they call it pura, which means pure, I believe. And you go bathe in these temples, and the water's coming out, and they have these rituals, and you bathe in these waters. And I'm telling you, you feel pure, like it cleanses your energy. So the mystics bathe in water for purification. You look at Captain Naaman in the Old Testament was told to go dunk 7 times underneath the water, and then his leprosy was cured. Scientists today are just starting to discover that water holds memory. Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, took the water, froze it, and looked at it underneath in a frozen state. And when it spoke love and gratitude, these beautiful, amazing crystalline 3D structures, like intricate and unique snowflakes, organized, coherent, started forming. That's just the 3D. Can you imagine what it looks like on the 60, the 90, the 12D version of water? I can only imagine how beautiful and intricate the sacred geometric structure of our avatar Christos inner eternal living water is. In the Eternal Flame Records, water is a living plasma being, created before stars and seeded into planetary systems to hold the original codes of eternal life itself. So in today's episode, we're going to dive into the multidimensional structure of water. Literally, how consciousness binds to water through scalar wave patterns, and why the healing of our own body water is the key to DNA activation, and how to practically heal and reprogram your water at home. So, in the CDT plates, water is known as Shalom Esh. was first seeded through hydroplasmic flows of the universal life streams during the formation of the Akasha Aya. So imagine that there's this eternal unicide, this first point of all of creation, and it folds on itself and it densifies itself. The Akasha Aya is the moment when the first light of all of creation expanded into form, the birth of our universe from eternal source consciousness. And that was approximately 950 billion years ago. And how did it do this? Through water. Consciousness binds to water. So, and you guys know dimensions 1 through 3. I'm going to walk through all the different dimensions of water. In dimensions 1 through 3, the form, as you know, as we're taught in chemistry class, is H2O, 2 hydrogen atoms, covalently bonded to 1 oxygen atom, and they call this a triphase, so liquid, solid, or vapor. The medium, as you know on the 3D, is carbon-based biology and 3D molecules, molecular tissue. And the function of water on the physical, obviously, is hydration. So the first step of health is hydration. Stay hydrated. Number 2, detoxification, purification for those who want to go clean out their colon, right? You can do the hydrocolon therapy, and I recommend 3 times. Find a good one, first of all, the practitioner matters, and do 3 in a week, and you'll notice, like, wow, the water literally goes inside your colon and cleanses your colon, and you literally feel lighter. Your thoughts become lighter. And that's what water is also used for, is detoxification and purification. Now, nutrient transport is done through water, memory imprinting and of emotional and scalar charge. So the memory is actually imprinted through water, even on the 3D. Scalar lattice conductor for DNA strand 1 to 3 activation. So DNA strand 1 to 3, harmonic universe 1, density 1. Water helps carry the energy signals that your body needs to turn on the first 3 layers of your DNA and begin healing and awakening process. So even the healing of D3, 1 to 3, dimensions 1 through 3, physical, emotional, mental, happens through water. Heal the water, and the water will heal us. So even in harmonic universe 1, dimensions 1 through 3, water is not just H2O. It holds energy and memory from deeper parts of who we are. And so with love, sound, intention, we can actually wake up the hidden parts of water, which helps our body remember the higher truths and heal. So water will imprint the sound and the intention even on the 3D, and it will literally begin to wake up parts of our cells to higher truths and healing. On dimensions 4 to 6, known as the soul, known as the light body, the form of water is in hydroplasmic ether. So the structure is subatomic plasma strands infused with prana seed particles. So it's no longer fixed in molecular bonds. And let me explain for those out there, a lot of you have heard of prana. So prana is a type of life force energy that our body uses to power basic functions of healing, activating the early layers of DNA strands 1 through 6. Flows through your breath, your chakras, your energy lines, acupuncture, your meridians, the energetic lines. Prana is flowing through that. And prana is drawn from the environment, but it's finite. It's not eternal. So prana is not eternal. It's finite. And it eventually runs out of energy. But you can increase your prana through breath work, sun gazing, grounding, by absorbing more prana from the environment. This is not eternal plasma, so I just want to make that distinction. Eternal plasma comes directly from source. Prana is like a temporary fuel meant to support you until your eternal flame template comes back online. So prana is like the early fuel for DNA strands 1 through 6. It's finite. You can get it from the sun, through breath. And it's meant to temporarily fuel your light body and your physical body until you're able to turn back on the eternal living plasma, which is eternal. So the goal is not to depend on prana forever, but to evolve beyond it and begin sourcing energy directly from your own God seed. So the state of hydroplasmic ether, water in dimensions 4 through 6, is pre-light vaporous plasma, which appears as a glowing mist or iridescent flow. And some of you might be wondering, what is plasma? It's like a living light. It's like pure energy from source, which flows through everything. So in dimensions 4 through 6, water carries emotional currents, energy and motion, emotion. So how does the emotion travel through our physical body? Through water and density 2 DNA strands. So the primary function of water in dimensions 4 to 6, harmonic universe 2, is emotional energy translation into time cycles. It acts like a liquid memory keeper, which guides your emotional patterns through life cycles, so your deeper lessons unfold in perfect rhythm. In other words, I love this. Water carries your emotions across time through harmonic universe 2. So at a certain frequency, at a certain dimension, there is no time, only consciousness moving through different densities. So when one soul, through electromagnetic fission, becomes 12 individual incarnates on different timelines, it's all interconnected. The emotional rhythm of all 12 is interconnected and patterns through water. So water acts, so like, can you imagine all 12 and then oversoul 12 times, that was 144, all interconnected through water beyond space or time. And that's the multidimensional beauty and wisdom of multidimensional water. It's literally what consciousness binds to. It's what connects. Love is the cohesive power of the universe, but how does love even connect? Through water. So water acts as a temporal memory librarian, storing scalar emotional patterns. And so that's how, like, karma from one life to a lifetime to another lifetime is all interconnected. And some people out there are literally looping karmic patterns lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. They got to heal the water, because if you heal the water will heal those emotional energy and motion patterns. Remember, water carries emotions. And water is listening. It's a sacred mirror. So water serves as a fluid connective tissue between incarnate form and dreamtime body. So this is cool. So when you dream, a lot of people, their consciousness goes to the lower fourth dimension, or sometimes if you've opened up the gates of the higher dimensions, the higher sensory perception, water is what carries the consciousness into the higher dimensions through water. That's kind of cool. So every single night when you're dreaming, right, water is what is literally being able to communicate from D4, 5, 6 into your D3 mental, into your D2 emotion through water. That's the relay system. It's a translator of consciousness. And it forms the hydroacoustic soul net through which soul matrix awareness can move into form. So in harmonic universe 2, dimension 4 to 6, water is often perceived as mist, fog, or etheric rainfall in higher dimensional inner earth realms. It's not composed of oxygen or hydrogen as we know it, but rather base tone particles. In eternal life science, they call it partiki, partika, and particum, which is arranged in a triple helix spiral current. And this is important, like triple helix rather than biveka, vesca, pisces. That's false light. That's trapped light. Triple helix currents. One omnipolar splits into masculine, feminine. Those split. So it's an intelligent way of continuously expanding and coming back, right? Triple helix spiral currents. So in universal terms, in higher dimensions, water isn't made of atoms like oxygen or hydrogen. It's made of tiny energy sparks, which is called particle. And they spiral together in threefold patterns, triple helix spiral currents. And these energy spirals form the building blocks of light, sound, and matter before physical atoms even exist. So imagine, so you might hear a lot in this podcast, scalar waves, right? So imagine like a New York Times billboard, right? There's a bunch of light bulbs and it fissions and fusions, right? It's stationary, but it looks like it's moving. So how do all these light bulbs connect to each other? Multidimensional potential, omnipolar potential. The backdrop of how it connects, everything connects, sound and light, how sound and light manifests onto is through water. So in harmonic universe 3, the oversoul, dimensions 7 through 9, density 3, the form of water is liquid crystal plasma. So all these New Agers talking about your crystal body, right? 3D carbon, 7 to 9, liquid crystal plasma. And so the structure is a crystalline plasma lattice, which is formed by triadic light fields. It appears as translucent geometric light fluid, part liquid, part fluid, part field. And the medium is, it supports oversoul integration, monadic expansion, and activation of DNA strands 7 to 9. So as you guys know, our dear brother Jeshua Sananda Melchizedek, right? Dimensions 7 through 9, he comes from the Sananda oversoul stream. So when Jeshua Sananda came through, right, his oversoul, dimensions 7 through 9, a liquid crystalline plasma known as Sananda, literally through electromagnetic fission, split itself into 12 souls, which is, we just went over what the structure and how did it do that? How does it intercommunicate the souls to the oversoul? Through the water. And then the souls split on different timelines and different galaxies, universes into 12. 144, 12 times 12, 144. So you have to imagine, see, and visualize that even Jeshua, through oversoul, is continuously beyond space or time, communicating with all 144 aspects of himself through liquid crystal plasma or oversoul communication. And so that's why I always say to people, like, the 3D is linear, but once you start understanding and activating your higher stranded DNA, you start thinking multidimensionally. It's all happening right now. That's why I tell a lot of people the story of Jesus is just getting started. How do we know what he's doing on 144 different timelines right now? The biblical timeline was one timeline, right? And as you guys know, history changes. You can already see it happening in the field right now. All these beautiful brothers and sisters are talking about the truth of Jesus, Jeshua. And it's literally changing the collective consciousness perception. So it's continuously evolving. So that's why I always say the story of Jesus is just getting started. So once you start thinking multidimensionally, it starts making sense. So the primary function of water is a crystalline conductor of oversoul tones. Imagine 144 identical cells all interconnected through this crystalline plasma lattice, which is water in harmonic universe 3, dimensions 7 through 9. Water functions as a translator of divine archetype into light body design. So from the oversoul into the light body soul, it's the translator of the divine archetype, or the monad is harmonic universe 3, liquid crystalline plasma, water. So in the oversoul is the storage of the Akashic radial records, personal and planetary. Remember, the Akashic records are like a big energy library that holds the memories of your soul and the planet. So over time, some of these records have become distorted or incomplete. So it's like a scratched record book of a story written with missing pages, because there's been planetary and personal, since the fall, trauma, timeline damage, and false teaching. So when you're going to get a Akashic record reading, right, It's the water that is conducting the energy and bringing in the memory through your oversoul or the person's oversoul or whatever it is. But remember, even the Akashic records are post-fall, which means that they have an imprint of certain trauma and it's missing a little piece of the eternal source, a true undistorted history. If you haven't heard yet, peptides work. And it's taken me a while to really believe this, but I know it to be true now. I've witnessed so many people's lives being changed and shifted by peptides. There's 15 years of research, that I've spoken to experts that show that peptides work. But most importantly, I'm an experiential psychiatrist. And so I tried the peptides personally for myself. And I'm not talking about research peptides from China. I'm talking about real, straight made in USA from a compounding shop pharmacy, pure peptides, which are short chain amino acids. They're like little light signals in the body. And when you inject them orally or you take them through an insulin needle, it literally turns on certain pathways in your body to produce more energy, all different types of things. You can lose weight with it. You can build muscle with it. You can anti-age with it. You can grow hair with it. There's so many different pathways that peptides can turn on in the body. So I am officially a firm believer, and that's why we started limitlesslivingmd.com, which sponsors this podcast episode. And so peptides, literally, no matter what you're trying to do in your life, health is your greatest wealth. And there's a reason why the FDA tried to ban peptides, and the reason why RFK said the first thing he's going to do when he gets into office is legalize peptides, because they work. They can help with all different types of health conditions. And we have at limitlesslivingmd.com created a company. We want to make these affordable for everyone. Pure pharmaceutical peptides delivered straight. You can order it straight from your home. And if you don't know where to begin, we're offering a special free 15-minute consult with a peptide coaching expert who can literally get you on the right peptide, but most importantly, the right dosing. That's really important. There's a lot of people right now being overdosed on certain peptides. So the right peptide, the right dose, ordered from your home, delivered straight to your home within 3 to 5 days with everything you need to get started on the peptides. A lot of these other companies aren't giving you everything you need, and there's clear educational material on how to get started. So if this is you, you're curious about peptides, you feel called to experiment with peptides and get into your best physical health shape, there's a QR code that I've been talking on. Click that QR code, or in the links below, click that QR code for a free 15-minute consult with a peptide expert who can help you figure out which peptide is best for you, what dose to get started on, and within 3 to 5 days, if that's the route you decide to go, it can be delivered straight to your house. So I'm really excited about the magic of peptides and helping people with peptides, because it's been helping me, and I know that it can help you. So check it out, limitlesslivingmd.com. Use the code Dr. Lee, DRLEE, for 15% off. New global paradigm of mental health. Let's go. Water in the oversoul is also used to rebuild the inner Cathara grid. So remember the circle 7, 8, 9 on the eternal tree of life, right? So water is, how does the source force move in between 7, 8, 9 and all the way down is through water. So it can help recorrect the Merkaba spins, how source force moves, and it bridges from the oversoul into the soul. And I just want to spend a moment here to paint why this is important. So as you guys see, there are some kind of new age or even really intentional and beautiful spiritual teaching systems out there that utilize sometimes even oversoul, sometimes working with, even if it's direct oversoul. A lot of them are intermediary ascended master teachings, which that's what the oversoul they think is, but it's a external. It's not even the direct oversoul. It's an external intermediary. So, and a lot of them are so well intentioned and beautiful, and but you have to understand, once again, right? This, even up to the oversoul, the Akashic records, even the oversoul, even if they're working with direct oversoul, it still contains some distortion, because anything 11.5 and below in this current time matrix is not working with the eternal living stream, Christic water, right? So it's bringing in the records post-fall. Just keep that in mind. And there's a different teaching, a different podcast, a different wisdom for every DNA strand accretion. And so I'm not condemning or judging. I just am sharing the truth from the CDT plate. So this form of water functions more like living liquid light, and it's felt as deep stillness, intelligence, and peace. It's the medium through which pre-sound geometries take root in your oversoul body, allowing, check this out, future timelines to be corrected and reintegrated into present DNA. And I love the word these days, ascension, right? So future versions of yourself, future timelines are corrected and reintegrated through the interface of dimension 7 to 9 water, liquid, light, into the present DNA. So that's kind of cool. Like you can literally pull from different future versions of yourself and bring them in now through this living light water, which carries that consciousness back and remembers your turns on those portions of your DNA simultaneously existing right now. So in Harmonic Universe 4, dimensions 10 through 12, the avatar God seed density, the form of the water is the Akasha flame stream, also known as the Christic liquid light with a K, Christic. And, you know, if you're chanting in Anuhazi, if you are part of the Eternal Life Tribe, if you're doing the techniques, this is at least this level. Okay, at least every single technique is working with at least this level of frequency in water. So the structure on this dimension 10 to 12 of water, there's no atomic structure. It's composed of aurora field plasma streams with Eka wave alignment. So in the higher realms, this form of water is not made of atoms or physical matter. It's made of pure light current streams of radiant energy, which is called aurora plasma, that moves in perfect harmony, carrying the frequency and vibrational encryption of creation itself. Can I get a So you could think of it as liquid sunlight flowing with consciousness instead of molecules. So this is, this is the reason why, personally, for me, one of my favorite things on planet Earth, right, is to wake up with the early morning sun and to connect with the early morning sun. And through the portal, the sun is a portal. Through the portal of the sun, you can connect with Soul 12, the host of the sun, and bring in not only liquid light plasma through your Anuhazi chanting, eternal, by the way, non-distorted, pre-distortion, and you can bring in through the Anuhazi language, which is literally reactivating and healing the water and reprogramming the water into the same frequency, the Elohai. Our original eternal life founders races us on a higher level. And we literally, beyond space or time, sound carries timelines, and through the portal of the sun, and through the liquid light, Soul 12 of the sun, and combined with sound, and combined with intention, and combined with visualization, and combined with feeling, starts pouring over every cell and every space in between each cell. And by the end of the chanting technique session, for me, I'm a completely different. My water is completely encrypted with base 12 or higher eternal life frequencies, and I can feel it. And it's not this airy fairy new age great light blissful I want to hippity dippity feeling, which is great. I love that feeling too. When that feeling comes upon me, I love it. Yeah, I take off my shoes and I dance too. But it's more of like, for me these days, a very subtle, centered, pre-distortion fluid. Coherence is probably the right word. And it makes sense to me now. This is the science of what I'm explaining. It's because of the water has literally aligned itself from D123. Remember, we talked about what D123 water does: physical, emotional, mental, and then from the D4, 5, 6, right? The prana, and then the 7, 8, 9, the oversoul, and the 10, 11, 12. And like after these chants, even the 13, 14, 15 rishi, and all the way up into the unicide, if you open it through, and all the way up into your ascended master self, all the way up into the Akasha Aya, into the first breath of source, all coherently interconnected, present. And all timelines collapse in the eternal now. And I'm beginning to be able to stay there longer and longer and longer and longer. So a lot of people come to me and they're asking me about exorcisms. Well, this is the science of exorcisms. If you continue to do the Anuhazi techniques, literally, foreign energies and entities cannot. This is science. Higher oscillation in trains transforms, transmutes lower vibration. And this is why Jesus told the Samaritan lady, if you drink from the water I give you, it shall become unto you everlasting water. He was offering the Samaritan lady this transmission that we're talking about, dimensions 10 through 12, avatar inner Christos, Christic liquid light with no atomic structure, liquid sunlight that flows with consciousness instead of molecules, and it's in a state of omniplasma flame stream, radiant flow of self-aware source-coded intelligence. And the medium is avatar activation and Christos template anchoring, and God's seed rasa flame body reclamation. So the primary functions of water in dimensions 10 to 12, the Christic liquid light is transduction of God code into the body bioenergetic template. Streaming of pre-sound flame into the Kathara grid. So remember, from the 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down, the streaming of the pre-sound flame into the Kathara grid for DNA strand 10 to 12, reignition and remembrance. Repair of the dark matter Rasha body, distortions, and God seed flame reconnection. It carries the Anuhazi light language in pure tone. And this is what we're doing in the Eternal Life Tribe, a DNA strand techniques. And according to the CDT plates, this is the living water Jesus spoke to the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. Not symbolic, but literal. This eternal liquid flame flows through the cosminya fields and anchors into beings capable. Your body has to be able to hold it first. And this is why detox and exercise, breath work, all of this matters. It's preparing the vessel, clearing the vessel to be able to hold the 12-strand DNA Christic alignment or higher. So this liquid light is not moving through space. It remembers you into being. If you haven't heard yet, peptides work. And it's taken me a while to really believe this, but I know it to be true now. I've witnessed so many people's lives being changed and shifted by peptides. There's 15 years of research, that I've spoken to experts that show that peptides work. But most importantly, I'm an experiential psychiatrist. And so I tried the peptides personally for myself. And I'm not talking about research peptides from China. I'm talking about real, straight made in USA from a compounding shop pharmacy, pure peptides, which are short chain amino acids. They're like little light signals in the body. And when you inject them orally or you take them through an insulin needle, it literally turns on certain pathways in your body to produce more energy, all different types of things. You can lose weight with it. You can build muscle with it. You can anti-age with it. You can grow hair with it. There's so many different pathways that peptides can turn on in the body. So I am officially a firm believer, and that's why we started limitlesslivingmd.com, which sponsors this podcast episode. And so peptides, literally, no matter what you're trying to do in your life, health is your greatest wealth. And there's a reason why the FDA tried to ban peptides, and the reason why RFK said the first thing he's going to do when he gets into office is legalize peptides, because they work. They can help with all different types of health conditions. And we have at limitlesslivingmd.com created a company. We want to make these affordable for everyone. Pure pharmaceutical peptides delivered straight. You can order it straight from your home. And if you don't know where to begin, we're offering a special free 15-minute consult with a peptide coaching expert who can literally get you on the right peptide, but most importantly, the right dosing. That's really important. There's a lot of people right now being overdosed on certain peptides. So the right peptide, the right dose, ordered from your home, delivered straight to your home within 3 to 5 days with everything you need to get started on the peptides. A lot of these other companies aren't giving you everything you need, and there's clear educational material on how to get started. So if this is you, you're curious about peptides, you feel called to experiment with peptides and get into your best physical health shape, there's a QR code that I've been talking on. Click that QR code, or in the links below, click that QR code for a free 15-minute consult with a peptide expert who can help you figure out which peptide is best for you, what dose to get started on, and within 3 to 5 days, if that's the route you decide to go, it can be delivered straight to your house. So I'm really excited about the magic of peptides and helping people with peptides, because it's been helping me, and I know that it can help you. So check it out, limitlesslivingmd.com. Use the code Dr. Lee, DRLEE, for 15% off. New global paradigm of mental health. Let's go. And I love the story of, it's one of my favorite stories of Jesus. So I just want to tell it from the perspective of water. So actually, before Jesus went to Samaria, it says that the night right before, he was praying on the mountain. So remember, when he's praying to consciousness, what he called the Father, all that is, it's interconnected through water to all that is beyond space or time. And even intuition travels, the frequency of intuition travels through water from your superconscious mind. And so Jesus was connecting to his higher self, what he called the Father, beyond space or time. And from there, he received the intuitive direct cognition through the frequency of water, beyond space or time, Samaria. And he says the next morning, I must go through Samaria. So this is the same thing that happens to you right before you're about to quit your job, before becoming a partner, or right before you're told, hey, leave this relationship, or right before. It's your water, it's your higher self communicating through you through the layers of water that I just described. And this happened to Jesus. So he knew. And so he says, I got to go through Samaria, guys. Intuitive knowing, direct cognition. And if you follow that, you can never go wrong. Why? Because that higher self version of you only has your highest evolutionary potential in mind. And that's if you want your highest evolutionary potential for the truth seekers. So then Jesus goes to Samaria, and on purpose, he sends his disciples away. He knew he had a divine appointment, a divine meeting. And here comes this lady from town. Okay. And she's an outcast. She's been married 5 times. She has social anxiety. She doesn't want to be seen by anyone. And, all of the other women, and they come in the morning, right? Because in the afternoon, it's super hot, especially, and you got to walk. But she purposefully, she doesn't care. She doesn't want to be seen. She comes to the well, Jacob's well, which had a lot of meaning to the people back then and now. And she's coming in. She's like looking around. Nobody's there. Good. And she sits down. There he is. Woo. Boom. Her nervous system triggers. And there's Jesus. He knew he had to go through Samaria for this one. So all these verses start making sense, right? Leaves the 99 to find the one. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. There's a lot of things we can learn from this story that I can learn and remember. And then, Jesus, he's smart. He meets her where she's at. And so first of all, let me explain this. Like, this is like in the middle of Compton, California, a Caucasian transvestite rolling up into Compton. Let me explain. Males were not meant to talk to females back then in the Middle East, right? Because, it just wasn't appropriate. Faux pas. And Jews were not meant to talk to Samaritans. So she's a woman and she's Samaritan, and he's a Jew and he's a male. Boom. There should literally automatically be quote unquote separation, because at the local town hall, they're talking, just like on the news today, they're talking divide and conquer, same thing that's happening today. The cycle is repeating, like divide and conquer, black and white, separate, male and female, separate. But Jesus was a sacred rebel. He broke through red and yellow, black and white, all are precious. He had deprogrammed the cultural conditioning. He had deprogrammed the sexual programming. From 12 to 30, when he was traveling, doing the sacred techniques, when he was chanting mantras that literally came into his water and released the frozen light trauma and the karma. And so he was clear, and when you're clear through the water, if your intention is literally to serve people, you can see the natural abilities of higher sensory perception, which he was activating on top of the mountain. Intuition, bilocation, clairaudience, clairsentience, clear seeing, clear knowing. And through the auric field, which is literally carried by the water, remember dimensions 4 through 6, he can literally see the imprints on this lady. And like a lot of spiritual masters can do, he can literally understand and know her whole life just by looking at her. It's a science. And so he meets her where she's at, though. He doesn't just come with some crazy statement. He says, hey, he actually asks her for a favor. Can I have some water? It's hot, it's thirsty. And she's surprised, she's shocked. What's going on? This guy talking to me, this Jewish guy talking to me. She's like, you don't have anything to get the water with. So they start on the physical, D1 through 3, physical water, right? And then Jesus says, then he takes it to the spiritual. If you knew who I was, you would ask me for eternal living water, and I would give you eternal living water, and it shall spring unto you, and you shall never thirst again. She's like, hold up, who are you? Right? And then he reads her auric field, and he says, you've been married 5 times, and he tells her everything about her, and she begins, and also she feels from him no condemnation, no judgment. And for the first time in her life, perhaps, she feels seen, heard, and accepted. It is a very important lesson for me here. Serve the growing Christ. To be able to see people in the manner that Jesus saw this Samaritan woman. Despite her 5 divorces, despite where she comes from, despite her social anxiety. And then she goes back and she tells everybody, and they're like, what's going on? This girl, something changed inside of her. And that's what love does, right? And a revolution happens. But what was he talking about? Right here, dimension 10 to 12, eternal living water. And it's water that was connecting her light body to, that he was able to see the imprints on the water. And then he took it even higher to the D10 to 12, eternal living water. So heal the water, and the water will heal us. And remember that this water is not moving, it's within. Each time we can remember it. And that's the living water. So on dimensions 1 through 3, in summary, water is liquid H2O. Its function is physical hydration and scalar conduit. In dimensions 4 through 6, it's a hydroplasmic ether made of pranic plasma, and its function is emotional field and soul integration. On dimensions 7 through 9, it's a liquid crystal plasma. Its structure is a triadic crystalline lattice, and its function is for oversoul communication and record keeping. And then dimensions 10 through 12, the form of water is a Akasha flame stream, and the structure is aurora plasma, liquid flame, and the function is for avatar inner Christos embodiment, and source stream inquiry. So science is slowly starting to catch up. It takes science a long time because most of science is looking at 3D. Masaru Emoto, shout out Dr. Emoto, did water crystal studies. And he hinted that water structures itself differently based on conscious input. I'm going to repeat that. Water structures itself differently based on conscious input. You remember that. So when we are holding the water and we're intending and breathing and saying, thank you, water is life. And through the energy lines, remember we talked about that. Water connects it and it infuses the water. It changes the crystalline nature. And then we drink it. We just infuse through conscious input, intention, and words and sound and emotion into the water. Water structures itself differently based on conscious input. Now, when we're chanting in Anuhazi, the aurora plasma, pure Christic liquid streams are literally reprogramming our cells and our water, remembering itself into the inner Christos being. So water structures itself based on conscious input. This is not magic, it's scalar physics. Water molecules respond to our scalar field, forming coherent or chaotic lattices depending on our emotional vibration. And this is why gratitude and love are the most powerful coherent emotions. Water is the only substance that can travel across all harmonic universes and densities without disintegration. Why? Because water on certain frequency never fell. Water remembers pre-distortion, eternal life. To heal yourself, don't just drink water. Listen to it. Speak to it. Honor it. So, consciousness in water, the scalar bridge. Consciousness binds to the form through scalar wave energetic templates. Remember the New York Times billboard? It's water is what's binding all those light bulbs together. And sound and light travels through the water. So especially in radial body emissions and DNA template magnetics. So your thoughts and awareness, they're not just floating. They attach to the body through invisible energy patterns like blueprints made of light and sound, and this is called the scalar template. These patterns act as bridges, allowing consciousness to shape your DNA and physical experience. And water is the perfect scalar conductor. Imagine sound traveling through this eternal water. Fission and fusion of sound and light, right? And water is what's carrying it all. So it's the blueprint, the scalar blueprint. So water receives, stores, amplifies, and transmits thoughts, emotions, sound codes, and geometric intention and symbols. And this is why trauma gets stored in the lymph and the fascia. So the lymph and fascia are made mostly of water. And water naturally absorbs and carries the energy. So when emotions or experiences are too intense to process, such as in trauma, that energy imprints into the water within these tissues. And like ripple, frozen in place. Literally, trauma is frozen light, where the water is frozen, dense, not moving, not flowing, until safety, movement, or loving awareness and intention allows the body's water to flow again and release the memory and the trauma. So water is what holds it together. Water is actually what flows. And so it's important for the water to flow and the water to be fluid. Because what happens to water when it's stagnant, like those swamps? You see what happens? Accumulation, frozen light, stagnation, bacteria, parasites. But when the water's flowing and fresh, flowing through, there's no resistance. You see the eternal living stream of hydroplasmic current flowing through the body with no resistance, no judgment. Then the water can flow through the scalar wave planets in and out through the body. And there's no disease when the water is flowing. So sacred mantras change the charge of the cellular water, especially the Anuhazi language, the original light language from which all other languages in this universe come from. So when you chant Anuhazi, your voice creates sound waves that carry pure, coherent energy, and these sound waves move through the body into the cells, especially the water inside the cells, which listens and responds to the frequency of the original light language, and the water molecules rearrange themselves based on the frequency into a multidimensional feeling behind the encryption of the sound. And so when the tone is sacred and loving, the water forms harmonious healing patterns that support your cells into remembering health, safety, and your original divine eternal blueprint. Water is life. So tears carry different pH and charge when from joy versus grief. So water also is tears. It's crystalline. It's multidimensional. It carries emotions through water. Water can hold information beyond chemical structure. This is the basis of structured water, and this is what is being currently explored. A lot of structured water systems are coming out in quantum biology. So if your water is chaotic, your field will reflect it. If your water is coherent and fluid, your DNA becomes more responsive to source signal. If we heal the water will heal us. The Earth's waters are your external plasma mirror. When we pollute the oceans, we pollute our emotional field. Look at the state of our oceans, guys. When we bless the rivers, we clear the pathways of remembrance. We are not separate from Earth's water. As above, so below. As within, so without. As in the waters, the rivers, so in our blood. Our blood carries the same molecular matrix as Earth's sacred springs. Healing our inner water literally heals Earth's planetary grids, especially when done with intention, sound, and scalar alignment. So when we do the source river frequencies in the last webinar, grid work over Kauai, Hawaii, over the rainiest place on Earth, which is water is all interconnected on all dimensions and all timelines. We literally infused the rainiest place on Earth at the original heartbeat of Earth, where Source, remember we talked about how Source sang? The original song was sung in the Lemurian grids there in Kauai. We literally reactivated the morphogenetic, multidimensional, Christic waters of Kauai, Hawaii, pre-distortion, pre-fall, which ripples and is interconnected through the sequences we just talked about, from 12th dimension, Christic living light, all the way to Oversoul, all the way beyond space or time. And our body received the reciprocal energy healing from that, and a lot of us felt it beyond space or time. So during the fall of 5D Earth Tara, grid distortions caused trauma to the planetary water body. So some of you guys who've heard previous podcasts of how 5D Earth Tara literally exploded, it lost its spin rate, it split itself, and through the black hole of the sun came down into 3D Earth and recoagulated. And during that fall of 5D Earth to 3D Earth, there was distortion caused to the planetary water body. The restoration of the aquifers, especially the Amenti blue flame aquifers, is a key piece of modern grid work. Deep within the earth, there are ancient underground water systems which holds the original memory of life, love, and balance. And restoring these sacred waters, especially the ones known as the Amenti blue flame aquifers, it helps heal the planet's energy field and reawaken humanity's connection to eternal source. Heal the water, and the water will heal us, especially below the earth, the Amenti blue flame aquifers. And we participate by healing our own personal water fields. It's all interconnected through the silver cord that goes down into the spine, through to the Menti blue flame aquifers, all the way down into the crystalline core of Mother Earth. It's all interconnected. So as we heal our water, our emotions, our ego, our soul, our oversoul, our avatar inner Christos self, as within, so without, as above, so below. So if we want to change the world, we have to change ourselves. And the healing of one is the healing of all. And heal the water, and the water will heal us, because we are made of water, and water is life, and water is listening. Water is remembering through us. So, practical ways to heal water. Daily life. Before you drink, put a hydrogen tap into it. Or get a hydrogen water converter. Hold it. Speak to it. Listen to it. Breathe into it. Intention into it. Feel gratitude and emotion. So how do you do that? Well, the heart is connected through the hands, through meridians into the water. So you can hold the water. Right now, by the way, shout out GT Synergy Kombucha. My favorite one is Sacred Life. Really, really good. So you can hold it. There's water in here. And you literally feel gratitude. And you breathe it in, and you can visualize even white, golden, cyan blue, living coats of aqua. Thank you. And through this breath and color, I infuse this water. Water is life. And then you drink. And you just heal the water, which will literally become part of your body, which is literally connected to all of water. So infuse your water. Speak to your water and infuse it with source sound and 12th dimensional Anuhazi mantras. Remember, even the oversoul level can carry distortion, but when you're communicating in 12th dimensional original light language, pre-fall, pre-distortion language and sound, it not only activates your water inside of you, it activates eternal living water underneath the earth, and you become a living grid worker everywhere you go. So use Anuhazi mantras and tones. So I just want to explain a little bit for those Eternal Life Tribe members out there, or those who may have be doing the Anuhazi chants or the 12-strand DNA course. When you chant Anuhazi, you're speaking the original sound codes of creation. Tones that carry pure light and intelligence from source. We're literally chanting with the same intention beyond space or time with our Elohai, Lyran, founders races, the first language ever spoken. And remember, sound carries timelines. It's all happening simultaneously. So your voice becomes a bridge which translates the source eternal living light Anuhazi language into vibration. The sound waves enter into the water, and because water is a living, listening substance, the water receives the frequency and reorganizes its structure to match the harmony of the tone. And one day, if we're able to, after a nice chanting session, we should literally freeze the water and see what the water looks like. That'd be really, really cool. So as the water shifts in frequency into the original light language sound, it becomes a carrier of that healing frequency, and like a liquid crystal singing with the memory of pre-distortion wholeness. And when we drink, touch, or pray with the water, it shares that healing song with our physical body, gently reminding ourselves how to align with peace, clarity, and balance. And this is why after a good Anuhazi chanting session, you literally can feel your cells have shifted in its frequency to the pre-distortion, original, eternal, living, Christic light and liquid light. And so when you speak Anuhazi into water, you're awakening the multidimensional Christic intelligence within it. And that awakened water then helps you remember who you truly are. And that's what it's all about. Remember, we're just remembering. Okay, we're just remembering who we really are. And it's okay if we forget here and there, right? We're human. And it's okay. We have these tools and techniques, breath, intention, to help us remember again how everything is interconnected through the beautiful, eternal, living intelligence of D1 through 3 water, which carries our body, our tissues, our organs, which holds together through water, our emotions, and carries energy and motion into our mental body, how thoughts are translated, how intention is translated into matter, is not into matter, but is held together, is through water, and then to our soul, light body, held together, right, through this intelligence of soul, light body, water. And then we go to our dimensions 7 through 9, oversoul, just communicating with us through this etheric almost tissue of water. And then our D10, 11, 12, eternal living water that Jesus spoke about. And water is life. Heal the water and the water will heal us. And so other ways, right, is you can use crystals. So there are those water bottles with crystals. Infuse the crystals with intention and put the water into crystals. And remember, crystals carry memory too through water. Structure it. So there's a lot of water structuring devices coming out lately. Most of them are base 10, which is fine. And this is why I'm working on a good CAD design for a little card that we can literally put into water to structure it into eternal living trivecca, light through eternal life, sacred symbols, and eternal life minerals infused with the source river frequency. So if someone out there, I'm already speaking to someone, but is a good CAD designer and knows how to do this, I already have the template of how to do this. I'm looking to collaborate with someone to create eternal living 12th dimensional water structuring portable devices. And you can grid with it. So after our Kawaii grid work, or after our next grid work session, when you hold that water and you infuse it, right, with the source river frequencies, then you can take that water to a local stream or a local river, and you can pour it into the water, and literally you're infusing the entire field with a D12 pre-distortion, eternal, Christic living water frequency, which will then spread, right? Another beautiful way. Heal the water and the water will heal us. Here's the crazy thing. Water is intelligent. It will reorganize itself as long as we stop putting crap into it. So when we fast with reverence, water fast, you can cure cancer. You can cure lymphoma. The water, heal the water and the water will heal us. And sometimes it just wants, Jesus after a 40-day fast, miracles started. Right? There's a reason, and I recommend True North Healing Center in Santa Rosa, California, if you want to do it under medical supervision. So it literally reboots your entire scalar template, your energetic template. Personally, I love mountain fresh, eternal spring water. Sometimes I infuse it with chlorine dioxide. Sometimes I put hydrogen tabs into it or hydrogen water. And to mineralize, you can use quintons, hypertonics, or mana vitality. But most importantly, infuse it with your intentions and gratitude and love. There's other water systems out there, not Kangen water. There's John Ellis water. There's hydrogen water companies that are emerging now. So there's a lot of different water technologies. And if there's one thing that I highly, truly recommend, invest into your water, not only your time, your energy, your emotions, but also your finances. Find 144K uprising. I had this hydrogen, like super high content. It broke, but I had it for a while and I was using it, and you can literally feel a shift in your frequency, right? And for me though, when I wake up in the morning and I go out into the sun, I take water with me, and as I pray, I infuse the water and I drink the water, right? So that's one of my life hacks right there. And I don't like the word hack. Life regenesis principles. So, in summary, water is not just hydration. It is the cosmic messenger of remembrance. We are literally born in water. We are made of water. And one day we will return to the stars through water. So let today be the day you intend to reclaim your relationship with this ancient, intelligent, multidimensional, conscious being that Jesus called the Father. Eternal living water is not outside of you. It flows through your blood, your breath, in your being. And the question is not whether water will heal you, but whether we will listen when the water speaks. Bless your water, sing to your water, and your water will sing you home, and we are walking each other home. So I want to end with a little embodied meditation, Anuhazi remembrance, water activation. So if you're not driving and you're at home, go ahead and close your eyes. If you have a glass of water next to you, hold that next to your heart. If not, just put your hands on your heart. And as you start putting loving awareness on the water and breathing, loving awareness on your breath, relaxing the breath, feel the subtle pulse of Christic liquid light beginning to merge with your in-breath as the water infuses into the breath. In and out, merging with the codes of Aquia, the in-breath and out-breath of God, infusing this breath with iridescent liquid light, soft pastel blue lavender hues known as the codes of Aquia, the mother of all water. So see this iridescent blue lavender hues merging with your in-breath and out-breath. Now on the next breath, feel a deep inner peace, maternal presence, the sensation of being enveloped in this eternal living water. Breathe it in and out. All 75 trillion one of your cells, this glow of iridescent blue lavender hue surrounding every cell, vibrating, oscillating with the eternal living water. Inhale slowly and deeply. Breathe it in. And exhale effortlessly. Bathe in the codes of Aquia, eternal living water, and whisper from within yourself. Whisper to yourselves. Infuse yourselves. I now reconnect to the eternal living waters within me. I bless the waters of my body, my memory, my lineage. I allow the crystalline codes of Source to flow freely. Slow in breath. Breathe in. Soft pastel blue lavender. I am a vessel of remembrance. Exhale it into every cell, every space in between each cell. I am the eternal source river of renewal. I am. Now, on the next breath, visualize liquid light flowing through your spine. And exhale it down your legs, down your spine, down the crust of earth into the core, crystalline core of Mother Earth. And merge through the water into the crystalline core of Mother Earth, rooted and grounded in the eternal living Christic water. Now on the next inhale, see it rise again through the silver cord into your spine. On the exhale, through your crown, into the cosmic oceans of your oversoul, your avatar, inner Christos Sophia self. And connect now with your avatar, inner Christos 12th dimensional self through the codes of Aquia. And take 3 slow, quiet, peaceful breaths in and out, and commune for a second. Listen through the water to your avatar, inner Christos self. Exhale, anchor it in. And speak out loud. Shalom. El Ha. One more time. Shalom. El Ha. Which means I am eternal water, remembering light. And so it is. The water is life. Heal the water, and the water will heal us. All right, beautiful souls, thank you for joining for this special episode on water. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed week. Stay thriving and enjoy and speak, infuse, laugh, dance with your eternal living water. Remembering we are walking each other home. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next week. Peace.